Hi, my name is Srividya Iyer, and today I thought of continuing with the topic of cognitive development in infants and children. Last time I spoke to you about language acquisition. Today I thought of talking to you generally about cognitive development in children. Um, there was a Swiss psychologist called Jean Piaget, and today whatever I'm going to speak is much borrowed from his work, and he has mainly pioneered in cognitive development in children. So the first, when the child enters the world or when the child is a newborn, it communicates, it acts and reacts through its reflexes. So reflexes are, the instinct to drink milk, the instinct to cry. All these things are reflexes, and it understands the senses. For example, the touch, the feel, you know, uh, the sound. All these things it understands. Now, this stage is known as the sensory motor stage. From 0 to 2 years, it's the sensory motor stage. And in this stage, the initial 2 months are through reflexes. The next comes when the child is able to understand the stimulus, pick the stimulus, and respond to it. So that is, beyond 2 months. The child understands to respond to stimulus. Now, here I would like to talk about a concept called object permanence. Object permanence means that when something is hidden from the child's sight, the child actually recognizes that the object is actually hidden and is not permanently gone. For example, when the child is around, before 8 months, then it will not understand this concept. So whenever you will, you know whenever the mother goes to work, or anyone goes out of sight, the child will start crying thinking that it is gone. But when the child is around 8 months old, it will understand this concept. For example, if you show the teddy to the child and you hide the teddy, it knows that the teddy is somewhere around here, but it is hidden, but it is not gone. So that is the concept of object permanence. The next is when the child becomes, around to 12 months to 15 months, it actually masters, response and stimulus. And now the way it responds is much coordinated and much more complex. Now, uh, I hope you can relate to my previous video also. Uh, this is much in sync with my previous video. Now, after this, when the child is about 2 years old, it has now become a pro in responding to stimulus, picking up stimulus, or giving responses, multiple responses, efficient responses, all things. It has become a pro in that. Now slowly it moves on to a stage known as pre-operational stage. Yes, the stage from 2 years to 7 years, according to Piaget, he said that that stage is known as pre-operational stage. In this pre-operational stage, I would like to talk about cognitive development in the sense of uh, assimilation and accommodation. Assimilation and accommodation. So before we pounce on to this concept of assimilation and accommodation, I would like to introduce to you a word that is coined by Piaget, that is schema. He called that in human mind, all the concepts, all the information are arrayed in the form of blocks, and each of this block is known as schema. In a more proper manner, we can say that any kind of mental representation of an object, of people, of any kind of situation or event, everything, it has a schema. It is represented in the form of schema. So schema is a cognitive structure. It is a mental representation of any kind of knowledge, information, thought, concept, anything. So child, slowly gathers more and more schema. Now, when there is an existing structure and there is an add-on to that structure, addition to the existing information, then that is known as assimilation. And when the existing information is there, but there is a new information that comes in, and a separate schema has to be created for it, a separate mental representation has to be created, then that is known as accommodation. So assimilation is adding on to the existing schema, and accommodation is creating a new schema. I would, this is a little technical, but I would like to explain to you with more realistic example. For example, say uh, the child knows four-legged animals. Okay, for example, the child has a dog at home and it knows that, you know, the schema for dog is already created in the child's mind. Now, when the child is suddenly taken to the zoo, it goes and sees a zebra and it calls that zebra a dog. Assuming we know this, we spoke about in the last video as overextensions. So this is, I'm explaining the same concept in terms of assimilation and accommodation. Now, when it understands that, that four-legged animal is a dog, it calls the zebra as a dog. Now, uh, now you correct the child and say that no, it's not a dog but a zebra. So zebra, see, the zebra has stripes in its body, black and white stripes, so it's a zebra. So a new schema is created, of that of a zebra. So that is accommodation. So if you say something that is related to the dog, that a dog, barks, a dog likes to chew on bones, all these things are addition to the existing schema called dog. So this I would like to, I'm explaining. For example, this is a, general way in which we understand assimilation and accommodation. Now, when it comes to assimilation, the way in which assimilation, when the knowledge is added, it deepens, the knowledge is deepened, and when there is accommodation, the knowledge is, the base is widened. So even grown-ups also process information in much similar manner. So more and more the children, learn assimilating and accommodating, the more they are pro in processing both assimilation and accommodation at the same time. So with this, I come to the end of my today's session. Thank you so much.